Alright, hello and welcome, fellow users of the internet. My name is Noah, and you're watching Asphodel Merchants. Alright, our Lord of the Rings Universe Beyond pre-release tier list series continues, and now we're on white. First up, we've got Banish from Edoras. 4 colorless and a white for a sorcery. This spell costs 2 less to cast. If it targets a tapped creature, exile target creature. It's not very good removal, but it is removal. You'll put it in pretty much any white deck just for the begrudging fact that you're going to have it. In sealed, you're not going to have all that many choices. If you end up in white, this is what you're going to have to use. Alright, next up we have Eowyn, Lady of Rohan, and I think I'm going to give her an A just because it'll all come together. 2 colorless and a white for a legendary creature. She's a human noble, 2/4. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains your choice of First Strike or Vigilance till end of turn. If that creature is equipped, it gains both. Equip abilities you activate cost 1 less to cast. That part's kind of flavor text, and so is the gaining both part. But just a 3-mana 2/4 that can always either give itself Vigilance or First Strike, or it can give your 2-drop Vigilance First Strike whenever you play it, or your next haste creature. Those lines, it just all comes together for being really good for a 3-mana 2/4. I think it's an A. Alright, Aaron Rider of Gondor. I'm about to post a little too hard. I'm about to, grift a little too close to the sun, but here we go. 2 colorless and a white for a creature human soldier. It's a 3/2. When Aaron Rider of Gondor enters the battlefield, draw a card. Then if you don't control a legendary creature, put a card from your hand at the bottom of your library. I'm getting flashbacks to Inspiring Overseer, which was just such a good card in New Companion Unlimited, and this card is just doing a lot of the same things, and maybe some things better. It's a 3/2 instead of a 2/1, so it's just got better stats. It doesn't have flying, but with the ring tempting you, making some of your creatures legends, you should always be able to just draw the card off of your 3-mana 3/2. And that's just a recipe for a winning game if I've heard one. I'm giving the Aaron Rider an A+. Fight me. Alright, Escape from Orthanc. 1 white, instant. Target creature gets +1/+3 and gains flying till end of turn. Untap it. It's weird that, the green abilities that give better stats and reach are going up in evaluation, but these old, white, jump effects, they're just never seem to be going anywhere. But yeah, Escape to Orthanc, 1 white, +1/+1. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains flying till end of turn, and tap it. I think I read it twice. I'm gaslighting myself. But yeah, it's a D. You're not going to want too many of these. Esquire of the King is a C. 1 white creature, human soldier. It's a 1/1. Pay 4 colorless and a white. Tap. Creatures you control get +1/+1 till the end of turn. This ability costs 2 less to activate if you control a legendary creature. Pretty good curve filler. It's going to be good in the late game to pump up your squad. You can also do this on defense. That's pretty cool. Alright. Faramir, Field Commander. 3 colorless and a white for a legendary creature. Human soldier. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, draw a card. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you choose a creature other than Faramir, Field Commander, as your ring bearer, create a 1/1 white human soldier token. I think I'm going to start off giving this a B. This could probably be an A if you're in the white-black decks, which I think have a sacrifice foddery theme. But otherwise, it's still a very solid card. It's still a hill giant. Can maybe draw you a card. Maybe make you some 1/1 white human tokens. I'm good enough with giving this a B. It could be an A in some decks, but we're just going to keep moving along. Flowering of the White Tree. 2 white. Legendary Enchantment. Legendary creatures you control get +2/+1 and have Ward 1. Non-legendary creatures you control get +1/+1. The funny thing is, you almost don't want legendary creatures you control to get more powerful because they're your ring bearers, and you want the Skulk ability to be more relevant. But that doesn't matter because this card's an A+. It's redonkulous. It turns everything in your deck better. You're always going to want this. You're going to play this randomly on turn 5, and just your board's going to absolutely overwhelm your opponent. A+ for Flowering the White Tree. Fog on the Barrow Downs is unfortunately a D. It's 2 colorless and a white for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature is a spirit and can't attack or block. 3 mana for a pacifism. Not good. We're going in reverse. 2 mana pacifism has just been getting more and more words tacked onto them in limited. This one isn't. This card's not very good. Hopefully you won't have to play it. Forge Anew. F. 2 colorless, white. Enters the battlefield, return target equipment from your graveyard to the battlefield. As long as it's your turn, you may activate equip abilities anytime you cast an instant. You may pay 0 rather than pay the equip cost for the first time you activate the ability. This card's terrible. It sucks. Don't put it in your deck. Alright. Frodo Sauron's Bane. 1 white for a legendary creature, halfling. 1/2. Pay hybrid white or black. If Frodo Sauron's Bane is a citizen, it becomes a halfling scout with base power and toughness 2/3. Pay 3 black. If Frodo is a scout, it becomes a halfling rogue with whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game if the ring has tempted you 4 more times this game. Otherwise, the ring tempts you. This creature. So the funny thing is, this doesn't even have to be your ring bearer. You could actually pick something else. I don't know why you would do that, but yeah, this doesn't have to be your ring bearer. It just has to deal combat damage, and if the ring has tempted you 4 times, if your ring's on level 4, you'll lose. Am I going to put this in regular A? Regular A is fine. But regular A, because this is a gold card in all honesty. Like, if you're only paying the white for this, this card's really unexciting. But, if you are somehow playing in Orzhov, it does have the text, player loses the game, and that's pretty relevant. So it's going to go ahead and get an A, but if you're not in Orzhov, the card can go down to like a D or an F. Alright, Gandalf the White. 3 colorless and 2 white for a legendary creature, Avatar Wizard, it's a 4/5. It has Flash. You may cast legendary spells and artifact spells as though they had Flash. If a legendary permanent or an artifact entering or leaving the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. I think we can make room in A+ for Gandalf the White. 3 color, it's a very powerful card. It has Flash, so it's going to be harder for your opponent to kill than normal. Giving your other legends Flash is really important, and just the doubling of these triggers is going to be very relevant. So that's the A+ for Gandalf, fairly well deserved. The Battle of Bywater. 1 colorless, white, sorcery. Destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater, then create a food token for each creature you control. You could maybe put this card in A because it is pretty cool for, it could really help stabilize you in certain fights. The problem, I think, a lot of the time is you're also going to end up destroying a lot of your own creatures and then maybe missing some important ones. Like, a lot of the time, their ring bearers are going to be like 1/1s or specialized 1 toughness creatures, so then you're still going to be fighting the game on that front. I actually do think I'm going to move this down to a B. If it was just a Wrath, but the fact that it can miss some very relevant creatures is not a help for just reducing the mana cost. We're going to go with B for Battle of Bywater. Alright, Hobbit's Sting. 1 colorless and a white for an instant. Hobbit's Sting deals X damage to target creature, where X is the number of creatures you control plus the number of foods you control. A. Good removal spell. Very efficient, very likely to get you where you want them to go. And it's cheap. Hobbit Sting's an A. Landroval Horizon's Witness. 4 colorless and a white for a legendary creature, Bird Noble. Flying. Whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, target attacking creature without flying gains flying until end of turn. I do think this gets us into B category, because you can actually attack with. You can play this on 5 and then attack with 2 other creatures, and then one of those will get flying. This doesn't have to be attacking, so that's a big help. And 5 mana 3/4 is still a pretty good beater. You're gonna be impressed with this card enough the times you play it. It's a B. Lost to Legend. Put target non-land historic permanent into its owner's library. 4th from the top. Artifacts, legendaries, and sagas are historic. I think I'm going to give this a B. It's a very good card. More likely than not, your opponent will have a legend, since their ring bearer will always be a legend. So it's just always 2 white, put your opponent's ring bearer, 4th from the top. Very relevant spell. Good B. Nimble Hobbit. 1 colorless and a white for a 1/3. Whenever Nimble Hobbit attacks, you may sacrifice a food or pay 3. When you do, tap target creature an opponent controls. This is a C. Whenever you're paying mana for this ability, it's going to be pretty bad, but hopefully that'll be in the late game. And but always getting to tap their best blocker in combat is pretty good, especially if you're sacrificing some food to do it. C for Nimble Hobbit. Alright, now for Wrath. Now for Ruin. 3 colorless and a white for a sorcery. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. They gain vigilance until in turn the ring tempts you. Exclamation points aside, this card's a D. We've seen these put a +1/+1 counter on each creature and do some stuff cards, and they're just not that good, especially not at 4 mana. So D for now for Wraith, now for Ruin. Protector of Gondor. 3 colorless and a white for a creature human soldier. When Protector of Gondor enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human soldier token. This could almost be a B. I'm going to put it in the very high end of C. This is going to be a very desirable 4-drop. Hill Giant make another 1/1 we've kind of seen that card in some other limited formats, and it's been very good. Protector of Gondor is a C. Alright, next up we've got Reprieve. And it's a B. Return target spell to its owner's hand, draw a card. You're going to be... The funny thing is... I'm not going to steal that joke. Yeah, just 2 colorless to, put a spell that your opponent's trying to cast back into their hand, and then you get to draw a card. Just really good. It's going to help really give you some advantage in some games and give you some really good tempo. B for Reprieve. Alright, when Rosie Cotton of South Lane enters the battlefield, create a food. And she cost 2 colorless and a white, and she's a 1/1. Whenever you create a token, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control other than Rosie. So she's a 3/3, and when you play her, she puts a +1/+1 counter on another target creature. And as you make more tokens, she gets more. You could almost put her in B, I think. But she doesn't give any evasion, and if your deck is not the best at making tokens, she's just a 1/1 that puts a +1/+1 counter on something. In the decks where you're making a whole lot of foods or a whole lot of other tokens, she is going to be very powerful, but I think in the decks where maybe you're not always doing that, she levels out only to being about a C, but a good C. C+ probably. Alright, Samwise the Stout-Hearted. 1 colorless and a white for a legendary creature, halfling peasant. He's a 2/1. Flash, when Samwise Southwest enters the battlefield, choose up to 1 target permanent card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. Return it to your hand, then the ring tempts you. A C. It's a 2-mana 2/1 flash. You'd probably play that most of the time. Being a legend's relevant, and every once in a while when you get to regrowth something, it'll be pretty cool. It's a C. Alright, Second Breakfast, an instant for 2 colorless and a white. Up to 2 target creatures, each get +2/+1 till end of turn, create a food token. It is a C. It's a pretty good magic card. It's going to be able to deal a lot of damage, and making food's definitely relevant. Alright, next we have Bill the Pony. And Bill B. B is for B. Yeah. 3 colorless and a white for a 1/4. It's a legendary creature. It's a horse. When Bill the Pony enters the battlefield, create 2 food tokens. Sacrifice food until end of turn. Target creature you control assigns combat damage. equal to its toughness rather than its power. Super good card. Build Pony is a B. Alright, another good card. We've got Shire Sheriff, which is also a B. 1 colorless and a white for a halfling soldier with vigilance. He's a 2/2. When Shire Sheriff enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a token. When you do, exile target creature an opponent controls until the sheriff leaves the battlefield. It's just a really, just a good old Fiend Hunter type card for 2 mana, and you should be able to create a food token or any other token relatively easily in this format. So, good B for Shire Sheriff. It actually might be trending towards A. I've almost stuck myself into A. This card's really good. We're leaving it at A for right now. I might move it down to B later. Alright, Slip on the Ring. Colorless and a white for an instant. Exile target creature you own, then return to the battlefield and you control. The ring tempts you. This card's a D. It's just not that good. Soldier of the Grey Host. Flash. Flying. When Soldier of the Grey Host enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. This card's a D. It's not very powerful for 4 mana. Unless you're killing something with the +2/+0 part. Reasonably flavor text. This card's not great. Alright. Stalwart of Oziligoth. 4 colorless and a white for a human soldier. It's a 4/3. Enters the battlefield. The ring tempts you. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Stalwart of Oziligoth. 5 mana for a 4/3 is just not really the stat lines you're looking for. This is going to die to a lot of much cheaper removal that your 5-drop shouldn't be dying to. It's ironic because if you don't have any good, better like Ring Baron quality creatures, your 4/3 is still going to be relatively blockable, so you're not going to be getting anything from it being your Ring Bearer. And the +1/+1 for second each time, not quite that good on this stat of cards. We're giving this a D. Alright, next up we've got the Tale of Tinvol. 3 colorless, white, target creature you control gains indestructible for as long as you control this saga. And Chapter 2, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Chapter 3, up to 2 target creatures you control each gain lifelink till end turn. I think this is a fair enough B. 5 mana, wait a turn and then get to reanimate something should be pretty good a lot of the time, especially with our 1 mana cyclers in the format. So getting to revive, to white zombify those is going to be pretty cool. And then getting to gain some life after you have to take turn 5 off to just leave an indestructible blocker should work out. So, B for Tale of Tinvol. Alright, Took Reaper. 1 colorless and a white for a 2/1 halfling peasant. When it dies, the ring tempts you. Good bread and butter, 2-drop, it's a C. Took Reaper. Alright. War of the Last Alliance. 3 colorless and a white. Search your library for a legendary creature card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. You do that twice, and then Chapter 3, creatures you control gain double strike. Until end of turn, the ring tempts you. I actually think this card's a D. Because, just paying 4 mana to tutor something up, turn 4 is just going to leave you pretty vulnerable. It's weird how it doesn't help like the other card, because the 5 mana saga, at least you take the turn 5 off and it turns one of your blockers better, and the next turn you immediately get the value. You don't get that with War, because War you search and then you search. You don't get any, you have to pay all of your mana to get the creature again, so it doesn't double you up on anything. And then with the double strike part, your opponent's just going to know that's coming, and they're just not going to attack. They're either going to main phase the removal spells, that way your attacks aren't as good, or they're just going to hold black and block and wait. This card just isn't going to trick anybody. I don't like it. It's a D. Westfold Rider. Another good bread and butter 2-drop. A colorless and a white for a creature human knight. It's a 3/1. Sacrifice it. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Activate only as a sorcery. It's definitely not flavor text. That'll come up more than a few times, being human is relevant. C for Westfall Rider. It's going to go in your deck. You cannot pass. 1 white for an instant. Destroy target creature that blocked or was blocked by a legendary creature this turn. I don't think it's a D, but I don't think it's great either. I think we're just going to have a C here with you cannot pass. Alright, next up we've got Boromir, Warden of the Tower. 2 colorless and a white for a 3/3 legendary human soldier. It's got vigilance. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. It's kind of flavor text, but sacrifice Boromir, Warden of the Tower. Creatures you control gain indestructible till end of turn. The ring tempts you. Yeah, this is a card good. I think I'm going to go ahead and give it an A. It's a 3 mana, 3/3 vigilance. You'd play that card all day long, and being able to sacrifice it to save all your other stuff, super good. It's an A. Alright, Dawn of a New Age. 1 colorless and a white for an enchantment. Dawn of the Age, New Age, enter the battlefield with a hope counter on it for each creature you control. At the beginning of your end step, remove a hope counter from Dawn of a New Age. If you do, draw a card. Then, if Dawn of a New Age has no hope counters on it, sacrifice it and you draw a card. It's a very interesting card. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to give it an A. You could maybe give this an A+. If your deck has like 15 to 20 creatures in it, it's probably almost definitely an A. I just don't know, like when do you go ahead and fire this off? Like, do you get yourself completely hellbent and then go ahead and play this card and try to have it? It is a very powerful, like, regrowing engine, but I guess it helps you regrow if you start losing a game you were winning. Just not really sure, like what deck is really going to want this card. But it is very powerful. It's an A. We're going to keep moving. Alright, next up we have Duin Bane Blade. This card's not very good. Or at least I don't think it is. 1 colorless and a white for an artifact. It's an equipment. Equip creature gets +2/+1. Equip human just 1. Or equip anything else as a 3. The funny thing is there are a couple of rares that care about equipments. And if you can equip those cards, you might be having to put this card in your deck just to turn those rares on. But without those, this card's pretty bad. Alright, Eagles of the North is an A. I think all the land cyclers in this format are going to be an A. Quick spoiler, but this one is also definitely 5 colorless and a white for a creature, bird soldier. It's a 3/3 with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain first strike on a turn, and it's got plane cycling. Pay 1 mana, 1 colorless mana, and discard this card, search your library for a plane card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. This card's just good. If you can't cast it, you cycle it to keep your games rolling, or once you finally cast it, it'll help you with a pretty good combat and leave you with a 3/3 flyer. It's a good magic card. Alright, and the last 2 cards are going to be pretty unexciting. Got a couple of good C's here. The East Farthing Farmer. When East Farthing Farmer enters the battlefield, create a food token. When you do, target creature you control gets +1 until end of turn for each food you control. Good line of stats. And last but not least, Eastmark Cavalier. 1 colorless and a white for a creature human knight. It's a 2/2 with vigilance. Whenever it deals damage to a goblin or an orc, destroy that creature. Okay. Control unscroll so we can see what's going on. Did we only have 1 F in Forgenew? Yeah, that checks out. White spread's a little different. Got a lot of C's, not quite as many A pluses, but a good amount of A's, good amounts of B's. Good amount of D's too, but maybe some of these will perform a little bit better than I'm thinking. But yeah, thanks for watching this video again, guys. Should have the next colors tier up here very soon. I really appreciate everything that you guys do, and especially watching the videos. Alright, like the video and subscribe, hit all the buttons, and we'll be here again very soon.